Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS soaps, both the Young and the Restless and the Bold and the Beautiful. And this is your Young and the Restless recap for August 16th. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how the Newmans are scrambling after Chance finding new evidence. We also see Adam will be shut down by Sally, even though it was her game. And then Billy gets called out by Chelsea as being boring. But before we unpack all of this, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. And please don't forget to like and share. So we're over at Chancellor Winters, where we see Lily. She finds a gift box and a note from her boyfriend, Billy. She's smiling and happy over the gesture. So we see that she'll leave Billy this grateful voicemail and decide that, you know what, she'll just wait to open the little gift so she can thank him in person. And, you know, as much as I'm happy for Lily, at the same time, something else is brewing, because I honestly think somebody coming for her man. And as much as he's trying to maintain this relationship, guess who's trying to undermine that relationship? None other than Chelsea Lawson. So we're over at the podcast studio, and Chelsea is leaving crumbs behind while snacking on popcorn and poking fun at Billy's uptight organization system. Now, Billy asked Chelsea if she thinks he's becoming boring and predictable since he started dating Lily. Yikes. But she insists that, nope, it's not on Lily, it's all on you. Chelsea acts like Billy needs to loosen up and live a little, but the vibe between the two of them are flirty and fun. Yes, Lily, I don't know, girl. Billy says that they should talk about Chelsea's issues instead, but she smiles and urges him to bring it on since she's had plenty of therapy. So she is pretty much saying she's ready for whatever Billy can throw her way. And I'm like, Chelsea, you know what you're doing. First it was Ray, now it's Billy. So now we're over at Crimson Lights. Sally bump into Chance. And this is her opportunity to fish for official updates on the Ashland Locke investigation. Now, of course, Chance stonewalls Sally. Now, she'll talk about Adam pumping her for information like she knows something, though she act like that's just a notion that is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, Sally suggests Victoria and her family deserve to move on from the Locke era, but Chance give her nothing but silence, which let her know that something else is cooking. Now, as we see Chance leaves, Adam appears. Now, this conversation get a little crazy. So Adam admits that he was going to agree to Sally's proposition, remember that text message, and offer his true breakup feelings. But now he thinks that she's bluffing on her end. Now, Sally gets into this whole little tiff that she simply didn't want to tell Chance what Nick told her. Now, Sally says she's growing tired of Adam treating this like a game. And he's like, well, wait a minute, sweetheart, you texted me. And she was like, well, yeah, I did text you. But anyway, I have no information, and I don't have anything to give you. And this is where she storms out. You know what? I wish these two would just stop playing with each other. I mean, seriously. Adam knows exactly why he left her with that CEO job at Newman Media. And Sally know what this is. But they just, I don't know. It's so crazy how they're allowing the Newmans to control their relationship. So speaking of Newmans, we're over at the ranch. And Victor tells Nick and Victoria and Nikki about the driver of Ashland's car smoking on the security footage. That leads to, of course, concerns about a DNA test on that cigarette butt and the possibility that the dots could connect back to Victor, which, yes, it could. Nick will think at this point that they need to get out in front of this and suggest hiring a crisis PR firm. Victor gets mad and counter that they should just wait and see what happens with the evidence first, and will mention his little chat that he had with Sally earlier. Nick now rants about Victor's intimidation tactics towards Sally, which it didn't seem that way, even though he was passive aggressive, if anything, and argued that it'll look like there's a cover-up if they don't report it like the other news outlets. In the end, this is where Nick realized his family isn't on his side, including his mom when, Victoria bolts out and don't want to be bothered with it. Victor walks away, and now Nikki is like, you know what, why don't we just don't say anything? Let's just see how this all play out. And this is a different time period. Maybe that worked in the 90s or maybe the early 2000s, but now with so much technology, anything could be found out. And that's why Nick wants to get ahead of this. So now he has to make a decision to pay Sally another visit and ask her to pretty much curtail the coverage that he actually originally gave her approval to actually run with in the way that she wants to. So now we're over at Society. We see Noah joining Victor for a drink and asks why he didn't say anything about Ashlyn during their last meeting. The same day they met, he had passed on, but Victor failed to mention it. And it's obvious that Noah has some concerns. Now, Victor will admit Noah's instincts are spot on, but Noah will realize that something is coming down the pipeline. Though Victor offers reassurance about protecting his family, but yeah, the writing is on the wall. So now we're at Chancellor Park. Victoria catches up with Nate, who insists that he's there to listen if she wants to vent about that bastard Ashlyn. Now, Victoria appreciates his candor, but she want to talk about something else and want to quiz him about Chancellor Winters. The interesting thing in this conversation, it seems like she might be trying to recruit him. And if things blow up over at Chancellor Winters, he might have an open door over at Newman, which I don't understand why he would want to go back there, as they were almost the cause of him losing his medical license. But anyway, he admits that, corporate life have brought some challenges, including complications with working with family, which Victoria can relate to that. But she feels confident that Nate can adapt after these initial growing pains. Speaking of family over at Chancellor Winters, Devon bring Lily up to speed on the latest drama with Nate. Now, after Lily said they'll work it out, Devon insists that they have to, since they can't go on like this. And the way Devon was talking, it's like he's ready to give Nate the pink slip, because obviously whatever contentions, him making moves without, approving them or getting them approved through Devon first, is setting and rubbing him the wrong way. Well, Devon, just wait till you hear about the dollar signs that he gave Sally to buy out Elena's contract. I don't think he's going to like that. So now we're back at Society. We see Chance shows up for some takeout, cross paths with Adam. Now, Chance refuses to join forces in this conversation to investigate Victor. Adam was like, you know what, I can do it by myself. I'll fly solo. Now, after Adam suggests that he knows what makes Sally tick and could help Chance find out what she knows, Chance called him a real piece of work. Now, once Chance rants about Adam's lousy treatment of Sally, which everybody is saying that, but we all know what that was about, Adam acts like he's probably not cut out for a lifetime of commitment. Chance ultimately urges Adam to stop wallowing, get a life, find a better path. If not for yourself, do it for your son, Connor. Adam also acts like, you know what, this is as good as it gets. And what he means by that is that it doesn't matter what he do, people are still going to see him the same way. The man is missing a whole organ, put his freedom on the line, tried to help Victoria get married to the creep that she now hates. So, yeah. So let's go over to Newman Enterprises. Victor checks in on Victoria since things was tense at the ranch before. Victoria mostly is worried about Nick in this conversation, who hasn't, really had a chance to process what Ashlyn, or what he did to Ashlyn, and is now fretting over Victor going to prison. Now, however, Victor insists, that won't happen. And you know what? Just have a little patience. And I'm like, okay, Victor, keep taking this with a grain of salt. You might find yourself and your wife and the rest of your family in a striped jumpsuit. Speaking of Newman Media, Nick admits to Sally that, more information is coming out regarding Ashlyn's death. Be prepared. Sally hopes to put Nick's mind at ease by insisting that she's not touching this story. Sally is fed up with people who want to pry into personal lives for personal gain. She calls it disgusting and sensationalist. And I'm like, you're in the wrong industry, Sally. I understand integrity, but that industry, yeah. Sally also assures Nick that if this news is truly monumental, then they'll cover the facts and just move on, not drag this out in the headlines day after day. Well, the public will drag you out day after day. Nick is going to be surprised since he expected pushback from Sally and think it's cool that Sally's on the same page with his family. Well, she done signed up and drunk the Kool-Aid of the Newmans. Sally contends that they're all on the same team and will suggest Ashlyn had already taken enough from the Newmans, even though they were the ones that invited him in. So, yeah, it looks like coming up, Sally is going to continue to make some surprising moves over at Newman Media as the CEO, so we have to stay tuned. So, I hope you enjoyed this recap of The Young and the Restless for August 16, 2022. Stay tuned for the recap for The Bold and the Beautiful, also that's going to be uploaded to this channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.